All right, what's up, guys? Week 3 NFL did a good week last week, 4-1. We're 6-3-1 in the year, 6.5 points. I think I'm tied for 16th or I think 17th place, which is fine. My goal always try to stay in the top 25%, which would be about top 25 in this pool. Don't make anything drastic, do anything drastic. If I were to fall out of it, I would maybe make some riskier plays or plays against the crowd to try to get back in it. In the final part of the year, try to be in the top 10. So right now, I'm sitting good. I'm sitting great. One question a lot of people asked is, why do I have the mask on over my face? So simple answer. I know no one at my job listens to the Kirkman show, but it's just to hide my identity. I don't know if any of their boyfriends, their sons, husbands listen to the show, and I've just seen the look on people's faces. I wish I could describe it to you. So I worked at a restaurant right when I got released and, working there for a while. And then once you disclose to people about your past and they're like, oh my God, ooh, and they act all, it's like, but you've known me for like 5 or 6 months. We worked together and I'm now, you know what I mean? Or just people in general just freak out if they hear the word felony. It's crazy. But if you see me at a live event, you see me anything like that, I'm always here. I'll walk up, say hello to you guys, no mask on. It's just because this is on the internet. It's preserved forever. I don't know what future employers or anything's going to be. So it's just easier to have the mask on. And I have a good microphone, so I think you can hear me clearly, which isn't a problem either. And I have no problem wearing it. So let's get into the picks this week. So actually, I already made a pick. It was yesterday. I usually don't pick a lot of Thursday games, but I did pick yesterday. I'm picking next week as well because the Jets, remember, are the worst team in the league, so I'm going to bet against them. I cannot remember who the hell they're playing next Thursday, but whoever they're playing, I'm betting against them, so you'll know. But yesterday I did go Jaguars -3. They lost. I really loved the matchup. Dolphins have been getting beat deep all year. Minshew's been looking pretty good, throwing the ball. He had 3 touchdown passes back-to-back weeks. They were really moving the ball a lot, and their corners, the rookie corner, C.J. Henderson, the lockdown, looked great. Shut down T.Y. Hilton week 1. Like, awesome. So what's Miami do? Comes out with an excellent, and I mean an excellent game plan. They have their safeties rolled back. They have their corners rolled back. Everything was checked down. Check down to James Robinson. Check down to Cheval. Check down. Did not let Minshew go deep. And when the Dolphins had the ball, they tried not to throw to the corners. Tried not to do stuff like that. They're throwing to the tight ends all day, and they were running the ball up the middle. It was an awesome game plan. I understand. I lost. That's football. That's great coaching. I was torn between taking them. The Packers were +3 versus the Saints. Kind of tough. So Sunday Night Football. Saints just came off of that loss. I'm iffy on if the Saints are good. I didn't know. The Niners I kind of liked. The Giants are really bad. But the Niners have so many injuries, question marks, different things. It was tough, but I went to Jaguars. It was just I couldn't figure out that third pick. If you look at the board, look at all the spreads this week, it is a tough week to try to figure out who to take. So took Jaguars -3. We're 0-1 to start the week. It is what it is. Don't worry about it. So speaking of the Jets, as you know, worst team in the league. I go the opposite of them. That plays 1-1 in the year. They lost last week. The Jets lost last week, which means I won. So we're hoping this goes again. And the Jets are playing the Colts. So I have the Colts -11. Do I like the pick? No. Did I already lose taking the Colts double digits week 1 in the system? Yes. But it was the Jaguars. Jaguars are way better than we thought. There's definitely a few teams worse than them. They are not the worst team in the league, even though you thought they would. But Colts -11 is the first play. It just is what it is. The next pick, my pick, I actually really like this pick, is the Falcons -3. They're playing the Bears. Bears are 2-0. They've beaten 2 of probably the bottom 5 teams in the league, the Lions and the Giants. And they haven't beat them easily. DeAndre Swift dropped the ball in the end zone week 1. The Giants last week had like 1st and goal on the whatever with no time left, and just didn't convert. They could easily be 0-2. They're 2-0. How in the fuck is this line only 3? I thought it was going to be 4.5, 5. When I saw that it was 3, that was my number 1 pick like right away. I absolutely loved it. Falcons obviously had a heartbreaker last week. They're preaching 4 quarters in practice. This is huge. 0-2 versus 2-0. And I think they're at home too. It's actually, I don't know why the spread is that, other than the fact that I think Julio might be out, but it doesn't matter. But, Russell Gage has been playing excellent, and I don't know how many points Julio's worth. Maybe a half point. How is this not 4.5? I don't know. Falcons -3, easy pick for me. Next pick I really liked as well is Cardinals. I wasn't a big Cardinals person. There was a lot of hype coming into the year. Felt like the Browns of last year, just hype. It's like, well, what did they prove? They're a bad team. They're playing a really good division, and they've came out and looked great. With DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray definitely has made that jump. Seeing the defenses using his legs more, and they're having fun. The entire team is having fun. It's like their new life they've got. They're playing the Lions, who are terrible. I thought the Lions were going to be 6.5, 7 maybe, and then I see it's 5.5. So it's another one where I absolutely love. So the Falcons and Cardinals I loved. I was just so hung up on what my third pick was going to be, and I ended up going Jaguars. But it is what it is. And then for the random number generator 2-0 in the year. Had the Chargers last week against the Chiefs. What I know not a lot of people liked that pick. But you always trust a random number generator, and this week it's another one I do not like. It is the Raiders +6.5. They just played Monday night. They're flying across the country to Massachusetts. Then they're playing in the 1 o'clock spot. Usually teams come out super flat in the scenario, and Belichick's ready to take advantage, and he knows everything that we know. Or maybe the Raiders keep rolling, but I have it +6.5. We'll see where that goes. So recap: we have Jags -3. That already lost. Falcons -3. And we have Cardinals -5.5. System play is the Colts -11. And then the random number generator is the Raiders +6.5. Those are the 5 picks. Ooh. All right, so now for the second half of the show. So for this week, I decided let's talk about how gambling works, once you're incarcerated. And, it's different actually unit by unit that you live in. So a common thing you'll see in a lot of units is a bookie, which is great. It's nice and easy. You find someone to bet on. The guy will probably take any bet you have. It's the only way he lives. Usually his family isn't sending him any money, so he really needs to be a bookie, and he's super organized, and, it's great. So there's these request forms, and it's a white piece of paper, yellow, and pink, all on top of each other. Whenever you need to request something. So someone will take a bunch of request forms, the guy, and he will hand write out every game, the 2 teams and the spread, boom, 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 all the way down, trip it. He has 3, so he, 3 copies every time he writes it. So he'll write it, 5, 6 times, have 20 of them, hand them out the unit, and then people come back to him. Some places, some units I lived in was crazy. So, like, example, Patriots are -7 this weekend, right? So if you wanted to bet with this guy, you would either take the Patriots -8, or you would take the Raiders +6, even though the real spread is -7. But if his a push and actually lands on the 8 or the 6, is also a loss. So there's times when a Sunday or Monday night game or a certain game would come and there's literally no winning side. Both sides are losing sides because it falls right on the number or something like that, which was crazy. But you also can't be a competing bookie in a unit either because there's going to be a fight and different stuff, so you kind of just have to live with it. Or maybe you can just bet with a buddy, but you can't bet a ton of stuff, and it's kind of super annoying, But then there was other units I lived in General Pop where the guy just followed wherever the lines were in the paper and went from there, and you can just bet with them. And then sometimes you live in a unit where there is no one to bet with, and that's when, I had mentioned to Kirk that I would just take bets with people, because every bet's a 50-50 chance with the spread, as long as we're not betting straight up or following the spread, then yeah, it's 50-50, I'll take it. But unlike a bookie, a bookie could have 12 people in the unit all betting the same exact game against you. If I were to do that with people, I would take it maybe 2 or 3 people. I would take that action with them, but then someone else would come up to me and be like, oh, no, too many people have already bet, the 49ers today. Like, I don't want to take any more of that. I already have a few. That's what made me different. So, things like that were fun. Some people were really stupid or just hated spreads. I wish I remember the game or the spread exactly, but I remember it was Patriots versus Jets, I think 2012 season, maybe week 3 or week 4, right? And this guy just hated the Patriots, so he come up to me, and we didn't have a bookie in that unit. He's like, hey, I know you'll take it. I know you'll take bets. Like, would you take the Patriots if I took the Jets? I was like, sure. You want to do the spread? Or, I think the spread was Patriots -10 or something, 10.5. And then he was like, no, fuck that spreadsheet. I just want straight up $4. I have the Jets, you have the Patriots, whoever wins has to pay. And I was like, sure, absolutely, no problem. Like, what? This guy's giving me a minus, $450, -500 line at even money. Of course, the Patriots win. They win by like 3 or 4. So the guy that bet me straight up loses. Even though if he just took the points, he would have won, and I was offering the points, and he didn't want free points to take. So, people like that, it is kind of funny because they just absolutely do not want to have any part about it or anything. So also people were to gamble on other things as well. People gamble on cards or dominoes or chess or basketball. A lot of times, sometimes with basketball, there'll be set people playing a game. And then there'll be people that will just take different sides, or sometimes usually like the point guards or some cocky kid or something, and then they'll be betting with each other, and you'll just end up being on the team. I don't recall ever betting on basketball game because I know that I'm not good and I don't want to be responsible for something like that, but a lot of other people did, and sometimes you'd be caught up in a game, and then you just got to make other people happy, or, other people in the unit end up liking you because they bet you on basketball, never talked to you before. It's like, oh, I like that white kid. White kid good at basketball. You want me money? Oh, I like him. It's like, oh, cool. I think we mentioned on the show about how hard it is to watch NASCAR because there's only 2 TVs. So, one thing, I was in one unit, big group of white guys that want to watch NASCAR, but you have to have a majority of the people, want to watch NASCAR over something else. So what some people did sometimes would be get a bunch of people. Everybody throws $1 in the pot, right? Depending on how many people are in it, you divide that by the number of racers. And we'd go out to where the basketball courts are and all little pieces of paper and pick out of a hat. And then we would all pick 3 or 4 drivers, right? Depending on how many people are in the pool. And then those are my 3 drivers for the race. If one of your 3 drivers that you picked out of the hat wins the race, you win the entire pot. So then you would have a lot more people invested in NASCAR that don't ever watch NASCAR. Sure, I'll throw $1 in and then, for the chance to win whatever, like $10, $12. It was great odds. I didn't mind doing it. Even stuff like The Bachelor was on, and they're voting off what girl they want, and there'd be people. Bachelor's a big show when you're incarcerated because you get to see a lot of women. There's not women you ever really get to see ever. So a show like that where there's like 20 young single women, people absolutely eat up that show. It's on all the time. Everybody watches it. But a lot of time people would bet on the rose ceremony and who's going to stay, who's going to go. So, even things like that would be funny. I wasn't really a big better on that because it's hard to really handicap it. But it's funny to watch other people do it. Dominoes also was something a lot of people bet on. So it made it difficult when I was trying to play dominoes when I first moved in. Because when I first moved in there, I asked like, oh, how do you play dominoes? And I was really curious. For those of you who don't know, it's you and there's a partner across. Then there's 2 people the other way. So it's 2-on-2. Every domino is handed out. We start with the double 6s, and then you just go around the circle. First person to run out of dominoes wins the match. That team wins the match. But the thing is, you don't know what your partner has. And the other 2 teams, they don't know what each other has either. So, you can't, you have to make sure that when it's your partner's turn that they can always put a domino down. When it's my turn, I can always, you have to make sure that keeps going on. And what I realized after countless games of watching is the entire game is counting. It's just math. It's just literally mental math. How many 5s are left? How many 4s are left? What did he skip on? It's just all memorization. But nobody would ever let me play because I admitted I never played before. And almost every unit or a lot of units, every game of dominoes, you have to bet on it. You have to bet on it. Or you have to wait in a long line to play too. Like there's 4 people in line waiting to play. So why do you want to wait and play to play with me who's never played before? Makes no sense, right? But the place that I was at, they would have tournaments sometimes. I don't know why, basketball tournaments, domino tournaments, whatever. And they're literally giving out free money. They would add money to your books, or they would hand out free food. A lot of times it would be adding free money to your books, even if it's like $3 or $4, but there's $0 to enter. So one day there was a domino tournament. They brought in a second set of dominoes to make it go faster. Sign up sheet is at the guard's desk. Everybody sign up, write your hand name, you and your partner's in, boom, 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 boom. Everybody's signing up. One of the best domino players in the unit was sleeping the entire time the sign up process is happening. Remember, he came out after dinner and was like, yo, there's a domino tournament. And he's like, yo, Jose, you're my partner. And, boo, you're going to be my partner. Like, and literally everybody had a partner, and the guy was pissed. And I said to him, I was like, oh, I don't have a partner. I'll play. He's like, have you ever played before? I was like, no. And the dude just said, he was like, fuck it. He's like, it's free to enter. Let's just do it. I played the game. This is probably one of the funniest things. I played the game. Me and this guy went all the way to the finals. This is like a 90-man unit. Not everybody played, so I think there was maybe like 30 teams, so like 60 people of the 90 were playing. We made it all the way to the finals and barely lost. And I was making perfect plays. I was just counting. All I would do was I was just kept counting and thinking and memorizing. But what I didn't realize was this was actually one of the first units I lived in too. Is that everyone then thought I was lying because everybody in there knew somebody. People knew people from the block, knew people from being incarcerated before, knew people from going to school with them. Their cousins or uncles or everybody like basically knew, like, oh, I know that guy. That guy's from this place or that place. Nobody knew me, so everybody had to go off of whatever I said as my word. And then after we played dominoes and that, they were like, that KingPin Pete guy, he's Spanish. You know what I mean? He's not white. He's Spanish. He knows Spanish. He's played dominoes. He's lying to us. He's trying to finesse us. He thinks that he can get over on us. And like, I was like, no. I've never played dominoes before, but it's just counting. I was a mathematics major, guys. Like you know what I mean? And I'm trying to do mental math, but it is what it is. People are going to believe you or not going to believe you, whatever. But after that tournament, we came in second place. I forgot how much money we won. I was then allowed to play dominoes more and more people would be my partner. And I was pretty good at dominoes and I thought it was super fun. Or if it was really dead, you could play one-on-one dominoes versus people, and it's just good to get the counting. But if you're good at counting, it's not that hard of a game, and it's kind of just memorizing and just looking at the board. In minimum security, we would play cards a lot. Same concept. You and a partner across, two partners the other way. We play spades a lot. So spades, you can look up the rules online. But basically, same thing. First one to run out of cards wins. All the cards are handed out. It's a fun game. There's actually more rules to it, but whatever. But that's a game where we would play cards maybe for 6-7 hours straight, just playing spades game after spades game after spades game after spades game after spades game. Every spades game was basically you're gambling, even though it's a couple dollars, $1, $2, whatever. But game after game after game after game, and that's all we did. And in the unit, there's like not much to do, and if you don't want to gamble, then a lot of times you can't play. Chess a lot of times is the same way. Like I'm pretty good at chess. I was in the chess club in college, but it's tough. These people have been locked up 10, 15 years. They're really good at chess. But a lot of times it's just people don't mind if you watch other people play. And I got nothing but time. I have nothing but time. So I can sit there and watch a few people play chess for 2-3 hours, kind of see the moves they make, try to think about what they're doing. You can come and get a better player and pass by the time. But, a lot of times chess, you would either have to gamble or you'd have to play on like an off-peak hour when people aren't playing to actually be able to play. Damn. What else could I say? Oh, an interesting thing, which you never even realize, is that we would play cards so much, we would run through a deck. After a while, a deck of cards gets like they used like wear and tear on it. I'm saying we're running through like a deck I'm saying we're running like 2 or 3 decks a week. More than that. Like people would have, your family would have to bring card decks in from home, or you have to buy it from the store, and then we would just run them into oblivion. And then once like the 2 of clubs or 3 of spades gets like kind of destroyed, the whole deck's basically void. You know what I mean? Because it gets so used up. That's literally how much card playing we'd be playing all the time. I don't know if I can think of anything else. I guess I can tell you quickly another story. We had another tournament. It was Christmas time, so they were being a little more generous. I was in minimum security at this time, so there were nicer people, and they decided to have a Jeopardy show. And I think the top prize won like $10 or $15 per person on your team, and we were teams of 4. Like that is huge. Like $10 can last you a while for like a week and a half. Like you're living good. So to win 10 or 15 is big. The Jeopardy categories were like questions about the facility. Then there was just like stuff about Massachusetts. Then there was, I don't even know, stuff about sports. It was different stuff. I didn't realize everyone tried to be on my team when we signed up. And then they made it random because people were kind of fighting about being on my team, which is kind of weird because I don't think I'm that smart of a person. But everybody in there, just their knowledge is so small about so many different things. I ran through the baseball category like it was nothing, and we racked up all of these points. Answered a ton of questions correctly that a lot of people didn't know. And I'll never forget the final Jeopardy question was basically, when did D-Day? No, not D-Day. When did we drop the bomb on Hiroshima? And I was just like, how is this the final? I thought it was gonna be something like super hard. Nobody got it right. We were the only team that got it right. Of course we won. But I just thought that was funny. That oh man, I wish that Jeopardy game was insane because I felt so much pressure. Everybody wanted to be on my team, and then we played so well. And of course, my teammates basically gambled the money away like right afterwards. So it is what it is. All right, we're at 20 minutes now. I don't want to have these videos be long. Don't know what I'm going to talk about next week. If you have a question, you can ask. Hopefully, I can go 4-1, 3-2. Try to get out of this hole of being 0-1 off the jump. Anything but 0-5. You know, if we're 2-3, we're 2-3. But I'm hoping 4-1 comes the end of the week Sunday. We move up in these rankings. Good luck, guys. Have a good one.